Justin, you said that white men need to learn that they shouldn't fear black men.
Right. Speaking from my perspective, I feel that a lot of the, we'll talk about police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot of white men are scared of black men because of their lack of exposure to black men or people of color. I'm not scared of black men. I'm not scared of Latino men. I've been around them my whole life, right? But I feel a white officer might be around a black guy and he feels that emotion. He's scared of the black guy. And next thing you know, the black guy runs, he's got to shoot him because he has the power, because he can pull it out of his pants, and he shoots the guy. And I feel that happens over and over and over again, that white men are just scared or intimidated by black men for no other reason than that the color of their skin. And it's really the ignorance and the lack of exposure to those people.
Yeah, I find that interesting that the only thing that seems to scare white people are black men. Literally, they swim with the sharks. They hunt. They go in the mountains and hike with the bears. They go to safaris and hang out with the tigers and the lions. I mean, literally, they go into the ocean and they find these indescribable ocean beings.
They jump off a 1,000-foot cliff.
They jump off of cliffs. They skydive. I mean, literally, white people do everything you can imagine that would kill them. And the one thing that only scares them is black. And that's unfortunate, because our history as black people does not reflect in any way factually that we are a violent people. And I believe Minister Farrakhan said that the best when he said, we don't have a history of killing you. You have a history of killing us. So it's not white people who should fear blacks. It's black people who should fear whites. And trust me, we do. We do. How do we resolve that? How do you think that can be resolved? I'll leave this one to you, Ami and Justin.
You know, honestly, I think that the fear is inherited. And this is why we say, talk to your children, not just us. It's not the responsibility of black people to talk to our children. The white family needs to talk to their children, because their next door neighbor may have inherited from their parents and they're teaching their children. Now your child is hanging out with that child, and it just keeps going and going and going. It is not just our responsibility to stop this. It's not. It will never stop because we want it to stop. We know about it. We talk about it. We talk about it all day in our households, until everybody else who's of non-color takes the responsibility to say, wow, I can empathize. I see how this is happening over and over. It's wrong. I can see how I saw my neighbor do this thing and I didn't say anything before, but now I need to speak. I need to speak to my children so that they know when they see it, they need to speak up. That is the only way that this changes. And when we did our YouTube video, I said that, like, what scares me the most is I think so many people are afraid to do that we won't see the change in our lifetime. That is my biggest fear, is that people are so afraid to have the conversation, because then you have to admit that it exists. You have to admit that maybe there is such a thing as racism. Maybe I saw it, I didn't say anything, but it's not to put blame on yourself. I don't accept that white people have to blame themselves if they're not being racist, but you do have to blame yourself if you don't speak, if you don't say something, if you don't stop the cycle in your own home. Start it there, in your own house.
Yes, your silence speaks volumes. Yeah. But I have to say, I have to disagree with you on one thing. Although we may not see it in our lifetime, I think we are seeing it manifest in real time. This generation is a generation of, I need to see what I need to see in 30 seconds or less. And when I say this is the first time that I've ever experienced, although it ain't like I was, marching in the 60s, but this is the first time I saw it on TV. The revolution was televised. This is the first time that I've seen things happen so quickly. So even when Martin Luther King marched to Selma to get the voting rights, it took him several years to make that happen. It took him the assassination of a president to make that happen. Like, it took a lot before that actually happened. And so today I see these protests and this generation getting so involved that they're like, we want it and we want it now. And so there are some things, there have actually been some reforms that have been happening in different states that have happened rather quickly, considering how long it's taken for us to see change.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I saw a sign from a protest, a photograph that said, "You fuck with the last generation."
Yeah.
I get it, because you're absolutely right. Not my generation, generation behind me, 2 generations behind me. They are relentless. This social media age has empowered so many people to spread knowledge fast. And, you know, I say not my lifetime, maybe because I'm thinking about my age, but,
but I literally get your point. Tehran, how do we do this? How do we turn this around?
It's education 100%. There's actually a Farsi saying that I use in these times where it says, "Kesi ke khab hast, mishe bidar kard. Ay kesi ke khodesho mizane be khab, hich vaqt bidar nemishe," which means someone who's asleep can be woken up, but someone who's pretending to be asleep can never be woken. So all I'm saying is everybody's woke now. So stay woke.
Woo, there it is. Sita, how do we get through?
I think it's a real turn inward to self-responsibility, and don't, like the tradition of the scapegoat, we don't just give our sins to a goat and send it out to the desert to die with our sins. We look within ourselves and we recognize where we've made mistakes, and we understand the self-responsibility of turning our future towards something that evolves to a better humanity and a more empathetic, understanding, and loving one. If we're going to convert each other from one organization to another, let's convert each other from misery to happiness.
Woo! Misery to happiness. And that's where we're trying to head on the Tammi McLeod Show.